Hello and welcome to the Polynomial Applications video. For this video, I'm only going to go through one example with you. The Go-formative is pretty short, it's only about 5 questions, and I'm going to want to spend time going over those types of questions during class because they're not all the same. But there is one or two that are like this, so I thought we'd go through. Now, the example's actually already been done, it's typed out, so I'm going to use this box and reveal things when needed. So first, let's just look at the quote-unquote story problem. Not so much of a story, more of just a word problem. So let's see. The length of a rectangle is 6 inches more than the width. The area of the rectangle is 91 square inches. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. Okay, so first thing we need to know, we know area. Area is going to be length times width. So when we take a look at our length times width, our first step, is going to be draw the picture of the rectangle. So we have to think, what does this look like? Well, since the length is 6 more than the width, we don't know what the width is. Let's call that x. So the length would be that width, or x, plus 6. So it's going to look something like this. Now, drawing your rectangle first is always going to be really helpful because then we can see, oh, well, how do we get that area? Oh, that's length times the width. So that's exactly what we're going to do next. We're going to write the equation using the formula length times width is equal to our area. It may even help to draw the area inside the rectangle. You don't necessarily have to do that, but it helps you know, okay, this width times this length, or this side times this side, is going to give me this area. So the next piece we're going to want to do is solve the equation or get that x by itself. Last class period, we practiced many different ways of getting x by itself, including a few different ways of factoring, using the square root, as well as the quadratic formula. You can use any of these methods. This one, however, might be a little bit easier with factoring. So we start with x squared plus 6x is equal to 9, and we get that by distributing this x inside here. Then we're going to subtract 91 on both sides because you can only factor or use the quadratic formula when your equation is equal to 0. From there we factor. 91 is kind of a weird number, so you may have to do a little bit of guess and checking, and that's totally fine. But we'll find two numbers that multiply to negative 91 and add to 6. In this case, we get negative 7 and 13. So once we're here, we go, okay, well, how do we solve for x? Well, we have to set each of these factors equal to 0. So I'm going to move this down. So we have x minus 7 is equal to 0, and x plus 13 is equal to 0. So when we solve, we get x is equal to 7, and x is equal to negative 13. But the only problem is that x being negative 13, you can't have a negative side length. So like this length right here, or pardon me, this width right here being negative 13 doesn't really make sense. So we make a note of it. This is not a valid answer for the side of a rectangle. We're only going to have one x here. So in this case, that x is equal to 7. So we can say that once we take the 7 and we plug it back into our equation, or not even our equation, our side lengths, this length here is going to be 7, and this one here is going to be 7 plus 6, which is 13. So I guess technically the last step we're going to do is we're going to write a sentence of the length is 13, preferably 13 inches. I would like to use units. And the width is 7 inches. So once we have our x value, we're taking it and putting it back into our original drawing and saying, hey, what are these side lengths? So this is just one of the examples of types of problems we'll do. Like I said, the next Go-formative only has 5 questions. We'll go over half of those together. But this is kind of make sure that you can draw the picture first. You're going to do okay with story problems, I promise. Let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to seeing you next class period.